Today, we have an esteemed guest. I'm honored and humbled to have somebody that I look up to, someone who inspires not only me, but I think an entire generation. He has transformed so much, he's created so much. But anyway, we'll get more into that detail. To start off with, welcome. Koma Jason Mphepo, what do you say?
Mushe, how are you doing? Kuzondite esteemed guest manje. No, makaita. But anyway, I'm happy by that.
No, you are. You deserve all the respect. And I'll start off with the conversation from your early days growing up in Highfield, Kufio, you know, as a kid
Wow,
there. What are some of the fond memories that you have growing up in
wow. Wow.
Highfield?
Well, growing up in Frio, actually to be specific, Kucherima, ndakakurira kunonzi Kucherima.
Chiroma, kwakusingawe magets.
Kwanga usitorina magetsi nguva yacho yayo.
Wow.
And ma-street lights paakatotanga kuiswa ma-street lights ndo ndanda kugara Kucherima by that time. And then vakatanga kuiswawo nema-tower lights and all that. But you know, the area actually earned its name because, I mean, it was an area in Gaisnagana market
Yeah.
at all. So that's why people then called it Cherima. And well, I started staying in Cherima, I think at the age of must say 11, 12.
Yes.
So yeah, that's when I started staying in Cherima. And I went to a primary school called Houghton Park. So I would walk from Cherima Highfield to go to Houghton Park. But sometimes when we were lucky, we'd catch a lift.
Yes.
And yeah, and then from there I went to Lord Malvern for my high school, and I also still was staying in Cherima and would commute or sometimes even walk to Cherima. But you know, my fond memories about Cherima really is about, you know, going to Mabukwe. You know Mabukwe?
Mabuka Nyapia.
Mabukwe, you see, when people do their fields and it harvest mbamba dzavo kana vaharvesta
Okay.
tinenge twasarira chacho tinenge tiri ndotwataienda ikoko with my friends, and then we will then harvest that, and then you know we enjoyed eating the sweet potatoes arivo kudaro acid
Okay.
food. And then also the other thing is we also played soccer
Yeah.
mafield ari kudhuze neground rezvigure. And one thing that I still remember about that time playing soccer in those fields was that close to our area there was a company called Afgate. And Afgate
Vaenda kunotora
was a
mawaya ri mudara.
so what used to happen is it's just we wouldn't really go to pick up my wires, but
Yes.
when a gang of people who Glenview,
Yes.
Glenview 8 just started being built, and you also had Glenora, you know, especially past spacemen, the guys would go and collect the offcuts, and the Susu was playing soccer would let them pass. And then when they are coming back, they are holding their big bunch. We just ask them to come and surrender. And the one right narrow would beat them up thoroughly. So I think this was more an issue of territory because, like for example, if you the place that was near where we would go and watch movies was the Spaceman, the Glenora Hall.
Yes.
And so when we would go there, we would be terrorized. So it was about an issue of territory. That was their territory. And then for us, Kwafgate was our territory. And then also when you want to go to swimming pool like Komachipisa, when again, Repakenan, that was their territory. So you had to pay them some border fees to cross the border. So I think it was just an issue of territory that was happening during that time. And
Wow.
how, yeah. So those for me are my fond memories. Of course, quite was just good, but it used to end up church, and so our church would not allow us to go and see Jugure, but only to realize that you know that was us, you know, and I think we lost a good part of learning about art during that time.
Wow, quite interesting there. You mentioned going to Spaceman, Kuglenora War,
Eh,
to watch movies. Was it Monday?
yes. That was Mandevu movies, and yeah, for me, my young brother and I mean, would not miss a Saturday. And someone might ask, how did you even get the money? What happened with our friend, and our friend is the one who would raise the money, and the way he raised the money was such that to my bank to marry, like I mentioned. I mean, we were supposed to commute to go to school,
Yes.
but then sometimes we famba netsoka and then keep
Then
some
save
of
up
that
that
money.
money.
Yeah. But then the money was not enough though to attend on a movie. So what we'd do is we'd remit this money to our friend. And our friend, I don't know for some reason, he was just lucky with Tamba Chaputa, with gambling. Right? Akatamba Chaputa anowina. So it meant that mari movie, we now have Mariema Puti, Mariema Freeze it, and
Yes.
we were, you see. And also sometimes, when you'd go to Glenora to watch a movie, there was a long queue that was there. So
Yes.
sometimes for you to get preference, you had to pay someone. I remember some like Anagauras who were like the bullies at that time.
Mhm.
You pay him and then he would get you to get into the queue. So then at the end of the by the time the gate is opened, I didn't get over. But then I mean that was the time, and it was fun, right?
Wow, quite interesting because I learned at Glenora too. I was coming from Glen
Ah,
B8, so I was always passing through, and also for Afgate. This is where Tisa Boys Ramairo, but I was younger, but my older brothers.
all right.
But now theater. Was there any
Mm.
theater happening within your community? What gave you your first glimpse into the world of theater and arts?
Wow, that's an interesting question. There were older guys like Anna O'Brien. I mean, I think O'Brien is like what, 3 years or so older
Mm.
than me, and I think when I was still in school, they had already started doing theater, community theater, and
Yes.
there was another called David Mabutu. He also was already doing theater. So, for me, even Kuchikoro, especially high school, I never participated in any activities to do with theater or drama. I was
Yes.
just, I had so much self-esteem, and maybe because I was coming from Fio, and I had friends who are well up, who live in the neighborhood in Waterfalls. And,
Yes.
Waterfalls was still the place then. So I think for me, I didn't participate much in those things, but then these guys actually are the ones who were there. So one day, I mean, after I finished writing my O levels and waiting for my results, uh, David, my boss friend, they said, "Look, accompany me to CJ or with something that I want to do." And I'm like, "All right." So I accompanied him. And then when I got there, they were then together as one. That was rehearsing at CJ Hall, and that's when he told me, he said, "Like, the director then." And so I was introduced, and then they asked me to play a small part. So this small part was the part of Enyanga, a traditional villa. And so he was supposed to interpret what had happened in an accident. So, I did it, but then the character I took was that character of a Malawian traditional.
Okay.
So, when I would speak the Malawian language and then try to explain how it all happened, it was all dramatic and funny for them. So that drama then also became so quite popular just because of that small Kapatkenanga. So I then started enjoying it. I thought, okay, I should maybe probably pass my time in university. I wait for my results, and that's how I started together as well.
Wow. Quite interesting then. Did you ever get any formal training after that to really get into theater? Or you just initiated yourself through and learn the trade on the work?
Well, for me, I think it's mostly, for me, I think it's mostly about talent. Because I actually remember that, in as much as I did not participate in any theater at school, I already at that age had started writing poems. I'd already started writing books. I had started writing films. Actually, there's one film that I wrote when I was still young, and I still really want to produce it. It's still there. It's just there, untyped, handwritten. And I just had this interest of wanting to do that, to just express myself through writing, through poetry, and all that. So I'd say for me, really, it was mostly talent. But then, getting into theater, at that time there was then an acetage and an act and an axip, and then the different theater groups would then be part of those associations and an NTO. So we then started learning through going into workshops. But for me, the learning was not really your proper theoretical learning. It was more of that is strong in Mabuku and in Fakos,
Yes.
but not strong. Exactly. So then they would then bring us to a workshop. Maybe it could be a workshop. There is an organization that has funded them to do a workshop on HIV and AIDS, and they want groups that are already, working within communities to learn about HIV and AIDS. So through developing plays at that workshop and then being criticized, we then also, on the other hand, started learning about these other thematic issues like HIV and AIDS and all that. But it became a space where theater groups, community theater groups, started competing to be seen. This is we are doing better within our community, or this is we are doing better. So you'd find that I feel Mpakos and Mabuku and Mbare sort of like became rivals, in terms of theater group that were emerging. So for me, the training really, especially with that, was not really the theoretical training, but it was also that kind of training where you are put in the deep end and then we ask Kutitira kids what you can. And that's how we then started learning and experiencing what other people are doing. So it was more experimental learning, which was good. But I think I would have loved something that was theoretical also, so that it opens my mind, it brings me into another world, imagination.
Yeah. You're talking about community there, that there was a growing community for creatives in different neighborhoods, but also in the same communities, this is where the stereotypes were still very dominant. How much did you face that kind of stereotype in developing your career?
The first stereotype was really firstly from home. Kuti moms was like, you know what? I know hauna kufoira O level yako, but andina mari to take you to A level. Go and look for a job. You see, and so the first thing was bring something on the table.
Yeah.
And that then became a big challenge, and then also even my older brother, my father, and my uncles and all that. I actually remember one time, and I think that's the only time I've worked in a factory. Johnson and Fletcher. So Sekuru Angu was like, okay, today night shift, let's go and you do something with me, and then you earn some money, and then do something. So I went there and I did that night shift. But then, during that shift, marane grinder and I actually that car, with me, and that's marane grinder. I just told myself that I'm done in tools and I will not do this ever. And I went home, I told my mom, I told her, this is not for me. I will continue doing drama. I will bring the money. However I'm going to bring it, I'll bring the money. So then, that then also motivated me and others. My theater productions, we charge for these. Like, for example, I participate in my commemoration, my Emma days, and a Women's Day, and an Africa Day. I remember even Workers' Day. I mean, we were actually an organization and yakutozikana nezXTU. Toti kune group rinonzi zvakati tikuita for this. So somehow we then started making money and earning money, and we bring that money and take it home. And that's how then at home we started being taken seriously. But then within the community, because you couldn't leave your drums to hall, you had to commute or travel with them all the time. So kwakabata ngoma nemabhebhi zvaimakisa une madrama kana kwakuita musikana kuti unoita zvemadrama unotipei, so it was there were a lot of challenges associated with that. But then over the time I then branched out from Together as One, and then I started my own group, Yainzi SPAD. So it was an acronym for singers, poets, actors, and dancers amalgamated.
Okay.
And so our inspiration was drawn from Matabeleland culture. It was drawn from a group named Ihaulesizwe. I don't know.
Ihaulesizwe, yeah.
Exactly. So for us, we then started doing something that was out of the ordinary. I mean, we decided something modernized. So we then started attracting even my corporates who then started saying, look, we want to work with this. Tayane dance production maybe I'm there about 45 minutes long, and it's a giant bunch of color. So it was something new. We even had new costumes. I mean, like to viscose to
viscose.
Exactly. Exactly, you got it. So it was uniform costume. You could be like, wow. So already because of that, we then started being respected even in the community. The girls, they wanted to join the theater group. A lot of young people wanted to join the theater group, and I'd say that's how we then started, and that for me were my early days of saying now theater yakundibada.
Okay.
But then it was not really enough money. I will pay rent or the family. So I was then recruited by Daniel Maposa. Then my number abandoned my theater group, and then I started working with Savannah Trust to talk with theater in education. And then also I left Savannah Trust and went back and started my theater group again in Batatanga Theater in Education. And
is that when you started Patsime?
No. Takambuita Theater in Education for some time, and then I was asked by Over the Edge one time to yes. No. Before that, I think I'm confusing things. Before that, I was asked by Dave Guja to be part of Rooftop, to be part of a play, Robinson Crusoe. So when I did that play, the director then was also directing Waiters. So I think they must have had been some fallout near the guy I play, Katia Marcelino. And then I then said, look, I will take it up. So they asked me to play it, and they loved me, and that's how my career really boom. From there, Over the Edge, then identified me from the character Marcelino. Yeah. And they got me to start working with them on some projects, Yes. But then the organization that they were working with then, I think, was one of the most one organization that used to do quite a lot of information dissemination around HIV and AIDS. So I then approached the director then, and I pitched my concept of using theater to go into schools. So that's how then Patsime started, and we were being housed.
That's great. You touched there on Waiters, and this is one platform, one TV show that brought you to prominence, but
Yep.
also it's still one of the best sitcoms that ever came out of Zimbabwe. I don't know if there's any other, but I remember, it's one show that would literally stop everything that we're doing to simply watch it. And you did it so well. But you played along stars such as Water, Parutsa. What are some of your fondest memories of working with the late, great Walter?
Being called monkey face. That was one of his lines that he would just throw in the monkey face. Uh, Walter was really some character actually. If I may
Yeah.
say, I love old man. I really loved him, man. I have no words, really to express how much I loved him. He was an icon to me
Yeah.
because he's one person whom give you his time. But how he would give you his time is also in a way that you should also give him your own time. So, like for example, if you wanted Walter to entertain you, then it meant that you had also had to invest time. So, like what used to happen is I would spend time with him during the day. Achishanda, achituma ndononditorera icho, I think also because age was catching up, so he needed kutuma zvinhu. So I was not on a salary at Rooftop then, but I would spend most of my time at Rooftop, and he would then send me to do these things, and I would do these things. But then after work, he would then say, right, now let's talk. What do you want to learn from me? So, from issues to do with the industry itself, from issues to do with administration itself, from issues to do with just life in general.
Yeah.
He was that kind of person who would be there and teach you this. But working with him on the stage, he did not look at you as a person achiri kudzidzira, but he would actually look at you as a person whom he's competing with. So he would say, handiti wakati unozvigona, handiti unozvigona panyanga. And so for me, that is what really used to motivate me to say, one, I'm working with this great guy, but at the end of the day, I'm becoming great because of him. You see, it's just being Patsime meant that you're earning some kind of respect in the industry. I mean, even with the audience is watching you. So, and it was so much enjoyable to work with. And he's not one person who would boo your idea down.
Yes.
He would always encourage you. If you bring your ideas, hey, what do you do? Hey, what do you do? Monkey face, what do you do? And it made work really interesting. So for me, I think working with Walter was one of the greatest I had in working as an artist. Yeah.
Great. From growing up in a neighborhood where electricity was erratic, was not there, where there were no street lights, where there was always a lot of sewer flowing. I remember sharing my sewage was always flowing around, and I think possibly still does now.
It does.
Wow. And you rose from that community to start acting in schools and communities, but went on to appear on Waiters. And from Waiters, you went on to be part of so many major productions. You toured the world. You've traversed, I think, so many countries performing, sharing your talent and your experiences in theater. But now we move from that suburb, um, triangle, Cherima, now to suburb D. You are on TV, but not just as an actor, but you're producing one of the most influential TV productions of my generation. And you're now running your own institution, Patsime. Tell us about just a bit of that transformation. And for me, that was mind blowing. I could not put the name to the picture, but when I managed to connect these three, I was like, wow.
Wow. Well, I think for me, it's really about ambition. One thing that I can say is when I was born in Mabu, and then my parents then moved and started staying in Houghton Park. So I'd say that I had a good life growing up, and I think Panisha was in Goitikao, and I Isapa and whatever.
Yeah.
And then the game changed. And so we found ourselves staying in Cherima. And for me, Cherima was not the place that was meant for me. I felt suffocated being in Cherima. I always looked up to other people. I think I remember actually applying for a scholarship to go to the UK because that's what I wanted. Yeah, and I actually got that scholarship, but my finances ended. Whereas on the third out in this end of the UK. But for me, it was always about it was always about ambition. I was so ambitious to want to make it in life. And even when I say that, whilst I was still at school, I would write novels, I'd write poems. For me, I'd see what happened in the world over, and I'm saying, I want to do this. I want to penetrate. I want to be published one day. I want to be this famous person. Tiona now, change your whole of my book. People are learning that. So I was like, this is what is going to happen to me. So I think it was really about ambition. And then we then combine that with the will of God. And then I think I narrated a bit in terms of what my journey was like. And wherever there was opportunity, I made sure that I grasped it. And for example, for me to be known in theatre in the park, because I think we were generally boys the go field. But for me to be known in theatre in the park, it's because paketwa a competition is artist against poverty. And I wrote a play, Yainzi Prisoner XYZ. And for me, that play changed the landscape of theatre in Highfield. A lot of other guys during my generation were like, wow, this is an amazing production.
Yeah.
And it is, I think, one of the very few productions that did a run to Theatre in the Park. And Isiri Theatre in the Park produced and funded production, but Eritrean outside production, but coming from the ghetto.
Yes.
So from that, we then started getting or calling us to come and do things for them and with them and being identified to do certain things. And then that's when I then got into Robinson Crusoe, and then from Robinson Crusoe into Waiter.
Yes.
And now with because I had already started earning some money, that in the Kang, I now was no longer staying in Cherry.
Theatre it was no problem.
Not at all. And now I was now staying in waterfalls, ndatoneka mota kangu kakombi kachimbo haiwawo kachimbopa dzisira mari chididididi. But I think from that stage it then made me get the exposure yekutanga kusangana nevanhu. And whenever I met people, I tried to make an impression.
Yes.
And the impression that I made, which then transitioned me to get into who I am now, is that impression yekuti I used that platform and ndakakreatirwa neDavid Buja yekuve celebrity, if I may say, at that time, as Marcelino, kuti ndikwanise kutanga kushanda nepopular people. Because for me, when I pitched my idea, I said that I am a role model for young people as a young person. And so for me, I want to educate many other young people around sexual and reproductive health issues, especially HIV. Because for me, I actually made quite a number, in fact, not a number of mistakes. I made what I might call a life mistake. I impregnated someone and it was an unplanned pregnancy. And I became a father so early, at an early age. So for me, it was then an issue that I would want to educate young people not to go that route. So I then used that, I'm a popular person, so I'm becoming a role model to be able to educate other young people. So for me, that's how the journey started. And so we got that attention from this organization. They hosted us, they started training us. I had no administrative training whatsoever, except from what I've shared with you, from Walter and Parita. But I then started writing proposals, getting funding, pitching ideas. Then if I employ people, this will work because Chitanga Patsime, I was a driver. I was a script writer, I was an actor, I
You was
was
oh wow,
a finance manager, I was
wow.
everything. And other people had started working with him. But then I realized, for this to work, I need other people who have expertise. So I started employing managers who then started writing proposals with me, the finance person who started managing the finances. And so, in some sort of way, I was managing an organization where there were people managing me, and then we then started managing each other, and then that's how the organization started. So for me, like I'm saying, it's really more about ambition. I'm so ambitious. And even up to now, I'm still really quite ambitious. Everything I do, it's always about I want to get to the top, I want to be better than who I am right now. I'm competing with myself.
Wow. And talking about that ambition, we've seen what the ambition has done over the past 2, 3 years. Um, you're one of the creatives that have built possibly the two newest uh, uh, venues for arts in Zimbabwe. There is Theatre in the Park, there is JASEN MPHEPO Live Theatre. That vision to build and create a space that does not only accommodate theatre but also accommodate all forms of art, from dance, music, comedy. We've seen so many shows that are taking place there. What was the driving force behind?
For me, it's more about legacy. I think that one day when I leave this earth, people should be able to write about me, read about me, conceptualize about me. I
Yes.
think as I am a walking novel, I am a walking script, and I want to believe that there are people who shall write things and conceptualize certain
Yes.
ideas or artwork out of the work that I've created or about me. And so it's for me, it's about legacy. And at the same time, it's also about ensuring that the industry grows. There are a lot of things that I've learned growing up, like, for example, from CJ Hall, the administration that was happening there and how theatre artists were being treated. And for me, I just felt that there is need for a space where theatre artists can converge and be able to shine and be able to use a space and say, this is our space, this is what we can use to showcase our work, to showcase the beauty of theatre.
Yes.
So for me, it's about creating also a hub where people can come and be trained. Over the years, I think, right now, Patsime is like, what, 15 years old? And I
Yes.
think over the years, we've trained hundreds of young people, some who have gone to start their own theatre organizations, some who are in filming now, some who are into other organizations, because as Patsime, we are a hybrid organization. We are not just art-based, but we are also developmental-based.
Yes.
And as we are developmental based, we employ people who have certain skills. And when we employ them and train them, they go on to do other things or start working in other big organizations, like people
Yes.
who are now in the UN, people who are all over the world. And even when we look at theatre itself, it's a different set of skill, and we have people who have done quite a lot. There are people who have worked with us maybe for a month, or for 2 months, for years. They are doing big things all over. So for me, it's about creating a space where people come to learn and then
Yes.
and do other things.
Wow. And you've talked about young people and creators that have passed through the hands of Patsime and the works that you've been doing from a developmental side and also from the creative side. On a developmental side, are you content with the work that you have done in terms of making an impact in schools and communities or just to young people in general? I know you're working in HIV, sexual reproductive health issues. You've also done the BAF Festival, Buddies for Arts Festival, and so many other initiatives where I've seen young people grow from very small artists, and today they're like really established and celebrated artists or running their own initiatives. Are you content with the work that you've done development-wise?
Yeah, very content. For me, when I started the Buddies for Love project, I didn't think that it was going to grow into such a big mission. Why do I call it a mission? It's a mission because we are going out there preaching the word to young people, and the word is around sexual and reproductive health, which is a big issue in Africa, which is a big issue globally. And we are encouraging young people to desist from engaging in risky behaviors that may put them into different challenges. So when I say that it is a mission, I'm talking of reaching over 30,000 young people a year. Because the Buddies for Love project, currently we are working in 60 schools. And whilst working in 60 schools across the country, our main aim is to reach at least 300 young people. So if you multiply 300 times 60, you're getting 18,000 young people. This is on paper when we develop project before, when we develop it as a concept. But you understand the scenario in Zimbabwe. Yeah, you get there, the teacher will say, no, we can't give you 300 students, we're giving you 600, we're giving you 1,000, we're giving you 800. So we do perform for 800 young people, 1,000 young people. Multiply that by 60 schools. That gives you 30,000 young people that we reach out to every year with educational theatre. So the theatre itself really is not just a matter of the people we come, we perform and we leave. Yeah. But we go there, we perform, we do post-performance discussions with the young people, identify young people with challenges. And when we identify these challenges, we then refer these challenges to services. And we also bring service providers into these schools. Your police, your nurse, and they are engaging with these young people. So really, it has moved from a level where we are just going in there and do a drama performance and we leave it like that. And they work with the notion, Yakuti, we have given them information so they will decipher it. Because sometimes communication in itself is a two-way thing, and sometimes communication can be misconstrued. So you want them to reinforce it with other messages, which are your discussions, your pamphlets, referrals to other services, and ensuring that a young people that you have reached today, a young person, that you have reached today is benefiting from, whatever you are providing them up to the end. So for us, it's more about a rehabilitation service or mission for young people with challenges, but also it's a therapeutic mission for young people who just want to enjoy theatre, but at the same time learning.
Wow, it's quite impressive, quite encouraging, and the numbers that you bring out there, very, quite impressive numbers. Currently, what is Patsime working on, and what are we looking at in the near future? I know right now we're under lockdown. How has this also affected your work? So in 3 parts, what are you currently working on, the future, and how are you dealing with the current situation?
Yeah, as of now, I'm pretty sure COVID will be with us for a while, and I think the social distancing regulations will still be with us. And I'm just praying that we will not experience another second wave of COVID. And so, because with that in mind, what we are currently doing as Patsime with the Buddies for Love project that reaches out to the young people is that we have realized that we will not get an opportunity to be able to go into the schools and perform for them in a gathering of 800. I think we put the young people at risk. We will also risk ourselves. So what we are doing is that we are taking Buddies for Love digital. So we are going to do a talk show. And with this talk show, we will do a Buddies for Love performance for about 20 minutes. And then after that 20 minutes, we then do 8 minutes or 10 minutes of a discussion, and we'll bring in experts from different organizations who will then also then be the panelists and the discussants of the show. So that's with that, and we're going to put it on the national TV. We will also produce my DVDs, which we'll distribute in schools. We are also thinking of putting it on the social media platforms that we have. Then with the JASEN MPHEPO Little Theatre, where we develop plays, I mean, for the mainstream audience, what we are doing is that we are taking the productions that we've done before, so that is in the year 2019, and we are recording these plays. And when we record these plays, we are then going to put them on our social media platforms. And I'm happy to say that we are partnering Earground, where we are going to be broadcasting some of these productions. So, like every month, we want to broadcast a theatre production, one theatre production, and then also have a concept of my dry jokes. I mean, dry jokes, jokes that a person would look at you and be like, was that a joke? At the end of the day, they laugh at it. You know, I'll give an example. You know, when I was sharing with the staff members, you know, such jokes could be like one yekuti mkomana akatuma na mai vake kuti anotenga nyama, then vasvike kokoko ndobaona pakavharwa, ndobati hamuna. You know, and then that then becomes a joke, and people are like, is that the joke? You know, and then we put laughs and, you know, just getting people excited and engaged. So these are some of the things. And like another one, yekuti anzi ndakabva kubasa vana ndasvika kumba vandaona mba mangu mune tsotsi, ende tsotsi iri rainzi John. Vandamuti kweli uri kuitei ikoko mba mangu? Anzi ndobati sorry vakuru. Anzi bambo tiunombonzani kweyo? Anzi bati ndonzi John. Anzi, do you know that this is a sin that you're committing? Anzi bati wakani mudhara handisi John Cena. So stupid dry jokes that we are thinking of.
Wow, that's quite interesting.
Really, would you really laugh at that?
Yeah,
but then
definitely.
We want to run away from stand-up comedy, nana blazwanga doc kuvigela, which is like that, straight, and you know, you give a joke and it's interesting and funny. We want to give something that's really dry, that people will probably not even laugh at and say, so, yeah, and we then want to do my jam sessions. But also in the midst of COVID, we are producing to my short films that we also are going to be broadcasting, and then we then try to have an engagement with people via the different platforms. So I'd say, I mean, this is what we have set in terms of programming. Where we can go to engage with people, we will be going to engage with people. Like, we are also putting in place mobile the information dissemination facilities, where we have our car going around just giving people messages. So yeah, that's what we are doing.
Wow, great. Wow, thank you so much. It's been great speaking to you. But there's somebody who's watching there. They're asking, how do I get in touch with Patsime if I want to be part at some point, if I want to participate, be it workshops, be it trainings, be it even watching shows? How do I get in touch? What platforms can I use to reach you?
Okay, there is our Facebook page, which is Patsime Trust. So if someone just searches Patsime Trust, you'll find us there. And then, so that is for Patsime. And then for the JASEN MPHEPO Little Theatre, it's also JASEN MPHEPO Little Theatre. If you just look for that, you'll find us there. You also find us on Twitter. You can also find us on Instagram. And yeah, for our landline, it's 776188. So, and we are in Harare. So you put the code here, Harare. So 776188. Yeah, and we are found in Eastleigh. That is where our offices are. and that is where the theater also has been built. So yeah, that's where people can find us. Otherwise, just inbox us on our Facebook pages and you get in touch with us.
Wow. Wow, it's been awesome. Thank you so much, Koma Jason. It was great speaking to you. I learned so much, and I think a lot of people have been enlightened for real because I didn't know a lot of this history, and it was quite interesting how it was all connected from one stage to the other, from just merely appreciating uh, theater and dancing and performing, and now you run an institution, you run an industry, right,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
business, and this is quite encouraging, especially at a time when the conversation is on how do we create a creative industry in Zimbabwe, one that is viable, that is sustainable, that also gives quality content for the
indeed,
consumers, not only Zimbabwean but also the international community, so that they know our narratives, but they also consume our products and bring in the much needed income.
indeed, indeed. Thank you very much. It was really good talking to you. I mean, this was long overdue. We've been talking
Yes,
about it. It
definitely,
was
definitely.
yeah, but and also thank you very much for agreeing to host us. And I think our first broadcast is going to be on the 4th of June, right?
Yes, on the 4th
Next,
of June. We're super
uh,
excited. We'll be partnering with Patsime. I think you've heard what he said. So we're going to be running at least a show every Wednesday, starting next week. Uh,
was it Thursday?
it's Thursday, yeah, every Thursday, yes. So every
Yeah,
Thursday we'll be having a show on Year Ground. We'll be dropping a couple of adverts so that you stay tuned on what's happening. But next week is our debut week. Super exciting to see these kind of collaborations and partnerships happening.
great. Okay,
Yeah.
cheers, eh?
Thank you so much.
Regarding
Until next time, stay tuned to Ear Ground. New Voices Amplified. My name is Plot Magabi. Speaking there to JASEN MPHEPO is the founder and the creative director at Patsime. And we spoke about so many things. He's also the brains behind JASEN MPHEPO Little Theatre. For most of you that have been following the arts news and been attending events, I know possibly you've seen a lot of stuff happening from that venue. One of the newest spots in Harare, in Zimbabwe rather. Until next time, stay tuned. Ear Ground is the place to be.